the A. The rain had stopped 10 minutes before Isaiah Coleman reached the police station. But the streets were still wet enough to reflect the red and blue lights glowing from the Building S entrance. He paused across the road, hood up, hands deep in his jacket pockets, watching officers move in and out, like this was just another night. For them, it was. For him, it wasn't. Isaiah crossed the street slowly. Inside, the station felt colder than the night air. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Phones rang. Someone laughed near the lockers. The normal sounds of authority at work. Holiday. He approached the front desk. The officer on duty barely looked up. White mid-30s, coffee in hand. Yeah, the officer said. I need to submit evidence, Isaiah replied calmly. That got a look. Slow. Measuring. Evidence of what? A crime. I have video. The officer finally straightened. What kind of crime? Isaiah met his eyes. Police brutality. The air shifted. The officer's jaw tightened. Name? Isaiah Coleman. ID. Isaiah handed it over. The officer studied it longer than necessary, then glanced back at Isaiah. You record police officers. The officer asked. I record wrongdoing, Isaiah said. Doesn't matter who's doing it. The officer leaned back. What officer? Badge number 6142. Officer Daniel Price. That name landed hard. The officer's fingers paused on the keyboard. You got a time and location. Yesterday, 11:42 p.m. South Market Street. Alley behind the liquor store. The officer stood. Wait here. Isaiah waited. 2 minutes passed. Then 5. People stared. Not openly, yet enough. Finally, a tall white man in a pressed shirt walked out. Sergeant's stripes. I'm Sergeant Holloway, he said. You say you have footage. Yes, Holloway gestured. Follow me. They went into a small interview room. A single table. 2 chairs. Camera in the corner. Isaiah placed his phone on the table. The video's backed up. Cloud and external drive. Holloway's eyes flicked up at that. You seem prepared. Isaiah didn't smile. I had to be. Holloway pressed play. The video showed everything. Officer Price shoving a black man against the wall. No resistance, no weapon. Just fear. The sound of bone hitting brick. The man begging, the officer's voice, cold and bored. When it ended, Holloway cleared his throat. This is serious, he said. We'll take this, Holloway said, sliding the phone closer to himself. I'll need a receipt, Isaiah replied. And a case number, Holloway nodded. Of course. Another officer entered, took the phone, logged it. Isaiah watched every step. Holloway handed him a paper. Case numbers on there. We'll contact you. Isaiah stood. I'll be following up. Holloway gave a thin smile. That won't be necessary. Isaiah left anyway. The next morning, Isaiah returned. Same building, same lights, same smell of burnt coffee, different energy. He approached the desk. Different officer. I'm here to follow up on a case, Isaiah said. The officer typed. Name. Isaiah Coleman. The typing stopped. Case number. Isaiah slid the paper across. The officer frowned. 1 moment. He disappeared. 10 minutes passed. Then Holloway came out again. This time, he wasn't smiling. Mr. Coleman, he said, there seems to be a mistake. What kind of mistake? There is no evidence logged under this case. Isaiah didn't blink. That's impossible. Holloway shrugged. System error. Isaiah's voice stayed calm. Then pulled the backup. There is no backup, Holloway said. Holloway. Isaiah felt it then. Not surprise. Confirmation. You deleted it, Isaiah said quietly. Holloway's expression hardened. Careful. I have cloud copies, Isaiah said. And a time-stamped receipt of submission. Holloway leaned in. Listen. You're making a serious accusation against a decorated officer. This could backfire. Isaiah leaned forward too. It already has. For you. Silence stretched. Holloway straightened. You're free to go. I'm not going anywhere, Isaiah said. Not until this is logged. Holloway nodded toward to officers nearby. He moved closer. Josiah understood the message. He walked out. But he didn't stop. Isaiah uploaded the video that night. He didn't tag the department. He didn't add commentary. He just posted the truth. By morning, it had 1 million views. By noon, news vans surrounded the station. The department released a statement claiming the footage was under investigation. Isaiah watched from his apartment as the city reacted. Then his phone rang. Unknown number. Yes, sis. Sergeant Holloway, the voice said. We need to talk. Isaiah laughed softly. Now you do. The internal investigation tried to bury it. Blanked. The footage was edited. Claimed Isaiah was antagonistic. But then the cloud backup metadata was verified. Then another witness came forward. Then Officer Price's body cam malfunctioned. The pressure grew. Officer Price was suspended. Holloway resigned quietly. The man in the video survived. Isaiah testified. In court, the defense tried to paint him as aggressive. The judge shut it down. When the verdict came back guilty, the room went silent. Isaiah didn't cheer. He just breathed. Outside, reporters asked him why he didn't let it go. Isaiah looked straight into the camera. Because deleting the truth doesn't erase it, he said. It just proves you're afraid of it. Weeks later, Isaiah passed the station again. Same lights, different feeling. A young black kid stood outside, phone in hand, recording. Isaiah nodded at him. The kid nodded back. The system hadn't changed overnight. But something had cracked. And sometimes, that's enough to let the light in. The backlash didn't end with the verdict. If anything, that was when it really began. Isaiah noticed it the first night after the trial ended. A car parked across the street from his apartment longer than usual. End running. Lights off. He stood at his window, phone in hand, watching the shadow behind the windshield shift slightly, then freeze. He didn't call anyone. He just recorded. The car drove off 5 minutes later. The next morning, his email inbox was flooded. Some messages thanked him. Others called him a liar, a traitor, a troublemaker. A few were explicit enough that he forwarded them to a lawyer without comment. He kept living his life anyway. 3 days later, a woman knocked on his door. She was white, late 40s, dress, like someone who didn't want to draw attention, but didn't quite know how not to. She held a folder tight against her chest. My name is Claire Donovan, she said. I work in records. Police records. Isaiah didn't move aside immediately. You're a little far from your office. Claire swallowed. I know. That's why I'm here. Isaiah studied her face. Not nervous in the way liars were. Nervous in the way people were when they were about to ruin their own lives. He stepped back. You have 2 minutes. Inside, Claire didn't sit. She opened the folder with shaking hands. They deleted more than your video, she said quickly. What happened to you? It wasn't a one-time thing. There are dozens of cases. Missing files. Altered timestamps reports, rewritten after submission. Isaiah crossed his arms. Why, tell me. Because I tried to fix it internally, she said. And yesterday, my access was revoked. That got his attention. She slid out a flash drive. This is everything I could copy before they locked me out. Logs, deletion records, names. Isaiah didn't touch it yet. You know what this does to you, Claire nodded. I do. Why now? The voice broke. Because I watched that trial. And I realized the system didn't break. It worked exactly how it was designed. I just didn't want to see it before. Isaiah finally took the drive. That night, he didn't sleep. The data was worse than he expected. Patterns. Clear ones. Same officers. Same supervisors. Same neighborhoods. Black and brown names repeating like echoes. This wasn't damage control. It was policy. Isaiah contacted a journalist he trusted. Then another. Then a civil rights attorney. Within a week, the story exploded again. Headlines shifted. Not one bad officer. Systemic deletion of evidence inside City Police Department. Press conferences followed. Denials. Carefully worded statements. Then the mayor called for an independent audit. Then the feds showed up. Isaiah was called to testify again. This time, not as a witness, but as a key source. In a federal building that smelled nothing like coffee and sweet and everything like paperwork and consequence, Isaiah sat across from two investigators. You understand, one of them said, that this could take years. Isaiah nodded. I understand it already has. Outside, protesters gathered. Some with signs supporting him. Some calling him a liar. A man yelled, "You hate cops." Isaiah didn't respond. Another yelled, "If you weren't black, none of this would have happened." Isaiah stopped walking. He turned slowly and faced the crowd. If I wasn't black, he said calmly, none of this would have been hidden. The word spread faster than he expected. More whistleblowers came forward. Dispatchers, analysts, even two officers. One of them was young, pale, hands shaking during his interview. I didn't delete files, the officer said. But I watched it happen. And I didn't stop it. Why? Isaiah asked. The officer looked down. Because I wanted to keep my job. Isaiah nodded. That's how it survives. Officer Price was charged again, this time federally. So were three supervisors. Holloway's quiet resignation was revisited. His emails surfaced. His approvals. The narrative collapsed. Months passed. The city changed slowly, the way broken systems always did. Policies rewritten, training announced, cameras promised. Isaiah didn't trust any of it. But something else changed too. A kid stopped him on the street one afternoon. Black, maybe 16. Phone in hand. "You're the guy," the kid said. Isaiah smiled faintly. "I'm a guy." "My mom says you made them scared," the kid said. "The police?" Isaiah crouched to eye level. "Good," he said, "Che. That means they'll think before they act." The kid grinned and ran off. That night, Isaiah sat on his balcony, city noise humming below. He thought about the man in the original video. Still healing. Still alive. He thought about the files that never should be existed and the ones that never should be been erased. He knew the system wasn't fixed, but it had been seen. Too, and for a system built on shadows, that was dangerous. Isaiah pulled out his phone and started recording not the police, not a crime. Just himself. "If you're watching this," he said quietly, and you think your voice doesn't matter. Understand this. They don't erase things that are harmless. They erase what scares them. He stopped recording. Across the street, another car slowed. Isaiah lifted his phone again and kept filming. The second time, the car followed him. Isaiah didn't pretend it was coincidence. It was early evening, the sky still holding onto a pale orange glow as he walked back from the corner store. He heard the engine slow behind him, tires crunching softly over gravel. He didn't turn around immediately. He counted his steps. 1, 2, 3. Then he stopped. The car stopped too. Isaiah turned, phone already in his hand, camera rolling. The vehicle's windows were tinted, the license plate half covered with mud. After a few seconds, the engine revved, and the car pulled away too fast, like it had somewhere urgent to be. Isaiah exhaled slowly. Pete sent the video to his lawyer, then to the journalist. He added it to the same cloud folder that now held more truth than the city wanted to admit. The threats became quieter after that. More subtle. A landlord randomly raising rent. A job application that went nowhere after an interview that felt promising. Invitations that stopped coming. Punishment without fingerprints. One afternoon, Isaiah was called into a community meeting at a small church on the east side. Folding chairs, old wooden floors. A mix of faces mostly black, a few white, all tired. An older man stood up and pointed at Isaiah. "You brave," he said. "But bravery don't pay bills. What happens when they squeeze you out completely?" Isaiah didn't answer right away. Then he said, "That's already happening. The difference is, now it's visible." A woman in the front row wiped her eyes. "My son was arrested last year. They said there was video. We never saw it." Isaiah nodded. "That's why this matters." 2. After the meeting, a teenager approached him, hoodie pulled low. "My cousin was on one of those files," the kid said. "The deleted ones?" Isaiah felt his chest tighten. "Do you know his name?" The kid nodded. "I can get it." More names followed. More stories. Each one familiar in its own painful way. The federal investigation widened. Police unions pushed back hard. Press conferences framed officers as victims of a witch hunt. Talking heads argued on television about context and split-second decisions. Isaiah watched none of it. Instead, he focused on the quiet work connecting families to lawyers, explaining timelines, showing people how to request records before they disappeared. One evening, Claire called him. "They're charging me," she said. Isaiah closed his eyes. "On what grounds?" "Unauthorized access. Data theft." "Are they charging anyone else?" A pause. "No." Isaiah nodded slowly. "I'll testify for you." "They're trying to scare others," she said. "Make an example." "They already did," Isaiah replied. "You just survived it." Claire laughed weakly. "I don't feel like I did." "You will," Isaiah said. "History has a way of catching up." The day Claire appeared in court, the gallery was packed. Supporters sat behind her. Cameras waited outside. 2. The prosecution painted her as reckless, emotional, disloyal. Isaiah took the stand. He spoke clearly, calmly. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't dramatize. He just told the truth. About the files. About the patterns. About the system that punished exposure more than abuse. When the judge dismissed the most serious charges weeks later, it barely made the news. But it mattered. Late one night, Isaiah walked past the police station again. The same building. The same doors. Different posture. An officer standing outside nodded at him. Not friendly, not hostile. Just acknowledgement. Isaiah nodded back. He knew not every officer was the same. But he also knew silence had been their shield for too long. At home, Isaiah sat at his desk and opened a new folder on his computer. He named it simply Still Watching. He added the latest videos, the latest documents, the latest names. He understood something now that he hadn't at the beginning. This wasn't about justice arriving all at once, clean and complete. It was about pressure, about refusing to look away, about being inconvenient to power. Isaiah leaned back in his chair, city lights flickering through the window. Somewhere, someone was deciding whether to delete a file, rewrite a report, lie just a little to make things easier. And somewhere else, someone like him was holding a phone steady. That balance, that tension was the real story. And it wasn't over yet.